What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Resident Evil Resistance video. Today's video is going to be ranking the characters from best to worst. This is strictly my own opinion. There's no real ranking system for the characters, but of course when it comes to a tier list, it's always somebody's opinion. This isn't set in stone or anything. Everybody's going to feel differently or have their own opinion about how characters feel. Not gonna do a really big introduction or anything, but I'm just gonna try my best to go ahead and start talking about these characters because there's a lot to cover. I don't want to talk too long, so I'm gonna try to cut a lot of the information that I wanted to talk about out of some of these characters and try my best to not talk forever, because explaining some of this stuff can take it would take hours. It really could. Even though you're thinking, oh, there's not a lot to talk about with each character, there is really a lot if you go in depth. So we're gonna start off. Also, before I start, I do want to say, if I had an actual tier list, like A tier, S tier, B tier, C tier, things of that nature in an actual chart, I wouldn't rank anybody below A, because they're all solid characters and they are really just that great. But A tier, and then there'll be S, and then the broken tier will be the highest. I wouldn't even consider S tier to be broken. I would actually put a tier at the top of that saying broken and needs to be nerfed. But that's another topic for another time. It's only 7 characters, so hopefully we don't spend too much time talking about this. First off, we're going to start off with the top tier character in my opinion, and that is Valarie Harmon. She is the #1 character in the game, in my own opinion, just because every character has a specific and unique tool about them. Jill ranges in combat. You need damage, you pick Becca. You want extra utility, you go Martin. Need some damage, up close and personal damage, go Sam. If you need defenses, go Tyrone. And if you need some more utility versus cameras, you take Jan. But Valarie does everything these characters do. Literally everything every character does, Valarie does, and it's ridiculous. I don't understand how this is still acceptable at this point, because it's been more and more patches and they're just giving her more stuff to compete with the other characters, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Let's talk about some of her abilities. I'm not going to go really too in depth with it, but her fever skill has always been great. All 3 variations are very great. I don't have enhancing right now, but enhancing basically gives you that tanky aspect because you get the yellow herb effects and you're constantly healing, which is really strong. If you don't think you need the extra healing, you can always go remedy, toss it down, clear infections whenever your teammates get infected, top it off with a couple mixtapes, and you can just make your team as tanky as possible whenever you need extra damage. Her survival instinct gives that extra damage to anything that's on the map, like map wide damage. You can go creatures, you can go traps, or you can go cameras. Really, creatures were fine, traps were fine, but now you gave her cameras and you're basically competing with Jan. 30-second cooldown, and of course you can mark cameras through walls and different things because her survival instinct it's a giant radius. It marks things through walls and everything, and it lasts for 15 seconds. Meaning there's only going to be a 15-second grace period where you're waiting for your ability to come off cooldown, because you're not going to kill everything or completely grab everything in that 15 seconds. So once you do, or when the ability does go on when the ability stops marking things, then you're going to be waiting about 15 seconds before you can do it again, and that's super short. That's really ridiculous in my opinion. Biochem Expertise. This is really good. I wouldn't even say this is really good. Her abilities in here kind of suck, to be honest, because healing aura doesn't really do anything special. Just gives you extra healing on green herbs. I'm just gonna keep plain and simple. Only green herbs affect this ability, which if you're gonna put in or have healing aura, you need something else to give that boosted healing effect too. Maybe on her fever skill, but that will be completely busted, or just add in another healing item, because first aid spray is already completely healing you, so there's no need for it. Debuff is probably the only ability you want to run in this category. Yellow boost, I have not tried it recently, but increases the effect of yellow herbs and enhancing sprays for Valarie. Now, this is basically just for Valarie. If we're going off the wording, it only works for Valarie, and that's not good. So you would just run debuff and get that team canceling abilities. You know, you can just cancel out buffs on zombies, make them weaker, and just make your team have an easier job at killing them. So there will be no need for these other two abilities but debuff. So this section is kind of underwhelming, but it doesn't matter when she just has these two abilities that she needs to work with. Now we're going to talk about the most broken thing of all when it comes to Valarie, and it's her explosive knowledge passive. This passive really has too much in it. The new nullify ability really is on the wrong character. I would rather put this on Martin and get rid of one of Martin's other abilities for a nullify. Just, this is not really going to get much usage in my opinion, because counterattack is still broken because it has too much utility. You can buy any type of grenade anytime you want. You can counter grabs. Also removes the stock limit, which the limit is now 4 because it had to get nerfed, but that's not the issue with it. I mean, there was also a problem being able to throw infinite whatever you wanted to, but the fact that you can counter grabs, you can buy more grenades than normal, and that's just crazy. Let's just think about it for a second. If you can stop grabs with grenades and flash grenades, your max is 4 throughout the match, so you can get to counter 8 grabs. Not only that, you can get a hand grenade and a flash grenade. So we bring that 8 to 10, and it's just ridiculous. You get to counter 10 grabs for free. Not only that, if you're not the one to open the door or anything like that, you can buy Molotovs and make sure your teammates don't get grabbed. So it's kind of a win-win situation. Not only that, I use Valarie as an engaged character. If you need somebody to engage, you can pick Valarie, because your engage is supposed to be somebody like Tyrone, Sam, or somebody of that nature. No, you can just pick Valarie. You don't know why? Because if I open up a door and I have counterattack available, just have a flash and a grenade. You know, a lot of masterminds like to put zombies at the door, so if you do open it, you get grabbed. It's a waste of 15 seconds. No, with Valarie, because if they just put a swarm of zombies at the door, if I use counterattack and I have a grenade equipped or a grenade in my inventory, if that zombie that gets counterattack gets touched even the slightest, everything in the area explodes. So you just essentially turn Valarie into a walking time bomb, and you can do whatever you want. It's not okay. This character is really just in another league compared to all the other characters. She just does everything. Now we're going to talk about the second best character in this game, in my opinion, because I'm not going to keep talking about Valarie. I can talk on her all day because this character, please. But we're going to move on to Jill. Jill is the second best character in my opinion, only because she does a lot. I mean, people say that Jan is the most broken because of her malware and this, that, and everything else, but we're going to talk about Jan later. Jill, second best character. It's when you talk about her stars armory, a lot of people talk about, oh, rocket launcher used to be so OP, you can snipe cores from out of nowhere. Yeah, you could, but this cooldown was ridiculous. And I mean, you would only get like one snipe in area 3, and yeah, it was unfair, but she has a lot of more unfair things going for her. We're gonna talk about her stars armory in general. Samurai Edge, I abuse this. Before they added Hot Dogger, I don't have it right now, but before, I just used to abuse Samurai Edge because it's on a very, very low cooldown. It's 120 seconds, and I didn't use it. Like, I just had it held. I never used Samurai Edge. You don't know why? Because our B&E specialist is very, very, very strong. Breakaway, counter surveillance, and now Master Key. You just hold your Stars Armory. Now that they have Hot Dog on a 90-second cooldown, you can just hold it. And the amount of utility this like produces just by holding your Fever skill is ridiculous. Now with Master Key, any door can be opened rapidly, and not only rapidly, safely. Huge against people who like to block doors, masterminds who like to power the door with as much as possible. That's huge. Now everybody's safe on the team with Jill on the team. Counter surveillance, if you don't have a Jan, just run counter surveillance and hold your fever skill. Breakaway, if you think that there's a lot going on, just run breakaway. She just has so much utility. Not only that, she's a combat specialist, meaning she excels at all different manners of combat. Let me take these off real quick. But all different manners of combat. You need explosions, regular damage, anything of that nature. Just Jill has it all. She gets free crit. Well, she's always had free crit. Temporarily increases movement speed and a shorter cooldown. She has so much utility, so much damage, and that's one thing that I talk about and look for in a character. Not damage, but utility. And Jill has enough utility to just solo carry a game in the right hands. Now, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people online that play Jill are just completely brain dead and don't know what they're doing. But Jill in the right hands can completely destroy any mastermind's day, because she just has too much utility going for her and too much damage on top of that. Like, you don't even have to build damage. She just basically has free damage for nothing. Free utility for nothing. Same thing where it comes to Valarie. She has free damage and utility for nothing at all, and it costs them nothing. We're gonna move on to the next character, because like I said, I'm just cutting some of the things I want to talk about in these characters out, because I don't want to spend too long talking on all of the characters. I want to keep this video short, sweet, to the point, and a lot of people don't have maybe 45 minutes to an hour in a day to look at a video, so we're going to try our best to cut it down as short as possible. Now we're going to move on to the third best character in my opinion, and that would be Tyrone. Now, I know what you wonder. I'm still skipping over Jan, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, why are you still skipping Jan? She is more Tyrone. Yeah, cameras are fine, but anybody can take out cameras. Jan literally does the one thing that anybody on the team can do. I'm not even impressed by her. I'm really not. But no, I'm not saying she's not that powerful. I'm just saying everything Jan can do, pretty much everybody else can do too. So we're going on with Tyrone. Tyrone, in my opinion, right now is probably top tier. Now, the reason why is because he has team-wide defenses. Tyrone right now is really giving a team utility buff, which is really great. He has like I can't even think of the word, but he has something for every situation. And it was kind of a tie between Tyrone and Martin for spot 3. I really wanted to go with Martin. I really did want to say Martin was top 3. He is really, really good. But I'm probably gonna have to give it to Tyrone. This character right now is super strong. Rapid response gives increased movement speed to nearby teammates while rally is active. That's really not impressive, but the fact that he turns himself into a team support, and that's all you really need is a good support. The team will actually come together and do what they need to, as long as you're supporting them, helping them out. And that's one thing that Tyrone does best, gives his whole team support. Now, his determination ability is kind of like selfish, but that's fine because he has a lot of team utility and team support to help anybody out on the team. There's really not too much to really talk about when it comes to Tyrone. He's really like straightforward and to the point. His power kick now is very, very strong. I'm not gonna lie, it's very strong. He's always been the only he was only the only character in the game who was safe when it comes to opening doors, unlocking doors. So it felt like you just needed a Tyrone to feel safe, or just walk around and be a bodyguard. And this is what this guy does best: be a bodyguard for his team. You need somebody to tank front line, do anything of that nature, go Tyrone. He's just right now really strong, and he has a lot of different builds you can put together as long as you know what you're doing. But Tyrone takes the cake for spot number 3. I'm trying my best to talk pretty fast. Now we're gonna move on to Martin for number 4. Now the reason I pushed Martin from 3 to 4 instead of him being 3 and putting Tyrone there is because now his flash baton, don't get me wrong, this is completely unacceptable when it comes to doing zombies. And his new flash baton shockwave is really unacceptable because not only does it blind cameras and destroys traps within range, it still blinds zombies, and that's not okay. If it had a downside to it, like if it only did cameras and traps, then it would have a downside to it. It just doesn't. It is a short blind, but doesn't matter when you can blind completely everything on the map without like any regards to whatsoever, and destroy traps when you blind. No, that's completely not okay. That's probably the most broken thing that he does have for him. And one thing I don't like that they did with Martin with this patch was they made him, or gave his abilities, more of a counter gun build, if that makes sense. He really just is countering firearm builds now. I mean, Minesweeper is fine, but to be honest, why would you run Minesweeper? You get a big indication. If you're playing Martin and you don't see the indication to use Sapper, then you're just not a good Martin. I'm gonna be complete. That indication is so quick. It comes before you get even near the trap. So you always get Sapper off. There's no need for this ability unless you just want to completely run through everything. Life hacks. All of his life hack abilities are really not that great, except for gas mask right now, only because a lot of masterminds are running infection builds now. So there's no need for anything but really gas mask. Bulletproof, I still don't know the point of this, because when it comes to guns, yeah, you do get shot down a lot, but just stay with your team. Take out cameras, and there will be no need for bulletproof. That just feels underwhelming to me. Shock mine, flame mine, signal jammer disrupts zombies. That's what he's known best for, just disrupting zombies. You know, giving his team a brief glimpse or a brief moment to breathe, and that's about it. Like, his damage is not really that high. He just has a lot of utility. Like, when it comes to utility, Martin has the most, but that's all he really has going for him is utility. And that's why I really didn't rank him higher when it came to Tyrone, which I'm still torn between the two. They're like super close. I couldn't really just too much decide, but only because Tyrone can bolster more builds than Martin can at the moment really got me thinking that Tyrone is like a little bit better than Martin, just slightly. If there's like a percentage scale, Tyrone is probably like I don't know, 75, and then Martin's like 74.5. It's that close for me. I was almost like torn between the two. So to recap what we have on my personal tier list, we have Valerie number 1, we have Jill number 2, Tyrone would be number 3, Martin is number 4. Again, like I said, a lot of people are probably going to disagree with what I feel as though this tier list will be. And after that, we have number 5, which is January. Now we're getting to that lone wolf, Jan. Now, the reason why Jan is a little lower on my list is because, all right, let's put this in perspective. EMP. All of her EMP are kind of overwhelming depending on what the masterminds can do now. Spencer is built in bioenergy. Everybody else can somehow produce bioenergy by doing other things. So interference, which greatly increases the cost by 15 seconds, doesn't really harm masterminds now, especially Daniel, because he basically presets all his zombies anyway. With the occasional may just place a couple here or there. So this doesn't work against Daniel or Spencer. When it comes to Nikolai, everything is dirt cheap when it comes to firearms anyway. Annette, zombies are dirt cheap anyway. This doesn't affect anybody really, because buffs and everything are already cheap. They just increase the cost a little bit, and you can just still put things out with this up and really not suffer the cost too much, especially if you know what you're doing. Camera lockdown, yeah, it's good against gun builds. Basically, if you still have zombie hordes and traps, especially on like console or I don't know how you do it on PC, but on console, since I play on PS4, I can tap up on the D-pad and still find a pretty good decent spot to place something, and it will give me an indication, because you know there's a red indication where you can't place something and a green indication you can. So instead of me using my analog stick to try and move and place something where I want, a lot of times I just press up on the D-pad, place it, up on the D-pad, place it, and I can just push out so much. There's no need for me to rotate my camera. Now the EIS lockdown is pretty big, I'm not gonna lie. This one is really huge, and a lot of gens are using it because it blocks everything. You can't control a zombie, you can't blow up anything, you can't close doors. For that 15 seconds you are completely useless, and that's what makes this ability really good. And that's about it when it comes to gen. Or overload and everything, yeah, you can lock down cameras a lot, but if your teammates aren't paying attention to the other cameras or sometimes other things that's going on, because there are places where multiple cameras can watch one area, so that's why I find Jan kind of underwhelming. When it comes to area 2, she excels, don't get me wrong, she really excels in area 2, but when it comes to area 1 and 3, there are multiple places where cameras can just be astonishing, and Jan isn't paying attention, a mastermind can still ruin somebody's day. Along with that, the cameras are locked behind doors, so a mastermind has time to set up before you get the door open. And I do want to say her virus, where is it? Malware, I'm sorry. This is a setup ability. You have to preset this thing, and you have to know where the you have to like think as a mastermind and know where the mastermind is gonna go for this to be effective. Because if you're just constantly just trying to place malware everywhere, you might not get like much usage out of it, because you probably put it in a shitty spot and don't even realize it. But if you know where to place malware, this is really good. I got annoyed by this on my first time, because first time playing Mastermind when the new when the new patch came out, I was getting annoyed by it because I didn't know what was going on. I was like, is Jan like instantly hacking me? I don't see her like tapping her little Tamagotchi figure thing. She's just like, I'm getting destroyed by nothing but air. She's not even playing on her little D-pad. But no, she did it anyway, and she just pre-did it. Again, when it comes to destroying cameras, that's pretty much what Jan does. And anybody can do it. Now, when we talk about her Cyber Monday ability, this becomes a little more in-depth. I've been talking about Jan more than I'm talking about everybody else. I'm probably gonna get out Jan after this. But her Cyber Monday is what comes into play. Not bargain bin, because everybody has a free bargain bin when you pick equipment. But Arsenal and Pharmacy, those are really good, because, well, I wouldn't say Pharmacy is that good. First aid sprays are everywhere. Like literally, you can look and find a first aid spray. This is very underwhelming. People are talking about how, oh my god, Pharmacy, you know, she has so much first aid spray, when there are free supply zombies spawning in people's faces. You want to talk about first aid sprays? Get rid of those things. You want to talk about first aid sprays? I can actually walk around. I'm not kidding. Every stage has a first aid spray if you look for it. Area 1 has a first aid spray, you just have to look for it. Area 2 has a first aid spray, you have to look for it. Area 3 will have a first aid spray, you just have to look for it. Every stage, every area has a free first aid, just look for it. Not to mention supply zombies spawn every time you look up. Hey, there's the free delivery guy. Arsenal is the only thing that really comes into play, because again, masterminds are really strong, especially in this patch, and Jan's arsenal to be able to buy a special weapon, which special weapons counter everything. I'm not gonna lie. You can use a special weapon on pretty much anything and it will counter it. That's what makes Jan really, really strong in my opinion. Just the fact that Arsenal, of course the weapon is random, but it doesn't matter because all special weapons stop everything. If there's a lot of liquors, spark shot, acid launcher, ATM missile, minigun, flamethrower, does not matter. Comes to cameras, ATM missile, spark shot, of course it takes a couple bullets. It's really not that really strong, but in the hands of Jan, yes it is. Flamethrower stun locks it, minigun stun locks it, traps don't even matter because they're weapons of mass destruction. So that's the only thing that really makes Jan like super unique. And it's kind of underwhelming. It's to the point where Jan isn't a person that's really needed on a team because anybody can do what she can do. Now we're going to the final two characters, and yes, Sam is not the worst in my opinion. I gotta go with Sam next. Sam is the 6th best character. Like I said, again in this tier list, nobody is below A tier, but we're gonna bring it to Sam. Now the reason I'm going with Sam over Becca, because Becca is gonna be the 7th and final character in this tier list for me. But the reason I'm going with Sam is because we're not gonna pay attention to this because I'm still working on things. Like in my last video, Sam just raw damage, man. If you need some damage, pick Sam. Sam can do it in any regards. If you need a firearm user, pick Sam. Because anybody can use a firearm, but the one thing that topples Sam over Becca is the fact that she sucks when it comes to using melee weapons, and Sam can do that. When it comes to firearms, Sam can now compete with Becca in a kind of regards, so he can use firearms and be as effective as Becca. He can't do the amount of damage she can, but he's still effective when it comes to firearms. She's not that effective when it comes to using melee weapons, and that's where Sam comes in and being better than her and becomes a lot better than Becca. So I'm not gonna really talk about Sam's abilities because he's pretty much straightforward. Punch, and that's it. I punch. Pretty much straightforward. Now we're gonna go into the 7th character, which is Becca. Becca really is very underwhelming to me. Not saying she can't carry a team in any situation like any other character, but it just comes to when it comes to carrying a team, these characters can do it any way possible or in a better fashion than Becca or Sam can, because they're only good at certain aspects. Like I said, when it came to Valarie, she does everything that every character can do. Everybody else is basically unique and have something special for them, except when it comes to Jill, because she's basically combat focused when it comes to dealing out damage when it comes to any aspect. So she kind of like topples over everybody else. And when it came to Tyrone and Martin, they were only good for like utility and engage. But when it comes to damage, it's only Sam and Becca. Like when it comes to the most damage, it's Sam and Becca. Jill is like, her damage is lower, but she has all around damage everywhere. They are very specific in damage areas. So like I said, Sam is 6. Not gonna really talk about him because I talk about him all of my videos. But Becca would be number 7. Yeah, her bullet storm is really good. Give her infinite ammo for a short duration, so you get to conserve ammo. But sentry stance, I'm not gonna talk about sentry stance just yet. But her bullseye ability, no, scavenger. That's what it is. Now, scavenger has a different aspect. If there are creatures, of course you can go either one of these abilities, but when there's mainly just guns and traps, then you're not getting ammo back, and Becca's gonna suffer for that. She really is gonna suffer later on in the game, especially when Nikolai's pumping out guns 24/7, or Alex is pumping out traps 24/7. Now I'm not getting ammo back, and you can say, well, then just go traps. Then what if you go against a zombie based build, because you don't know what you're going against? So if you go traps and there's zombie based builds, then this ability becomes pretty much useless, if that makes sense. Same thing when it comes to Sam. His dash punch is only useful against zombies. not cameras, not traps. Surge is good in all regards, but exhilaration and attrition, only zombies, not good against anything else. Focus, you have to be really close. Zombies. Sam needs zombies. As far as Tyrone, he really doesn't, because he's just straight utility, and he just gives his team any type of utility. Same thing with Martin, just utility. Jan, utility. Val, whatever you want. Jill, whatever you want. But Becca, she chooses one variation, or she can choose a definitive path, if that makes sense. And then if you choose that path, then if you get the secondary path that somebody mastermind can go, then you're going to be very underwhelming and fall short for your team, and that really sucks for me. Now, a lot of her abilities have more utility in it. Like, I'm gonna talk about sentry stance now, because I see a lot of Beccas who, I don't know if swift or escalation, basically her sentry stance, I don't know if it actually increases damage to cameras. I see all Beccas, whenever there's a camera based build, they kneel, and it's like the only thing that I've noticed to give extra damage or deal extra damage to cameras is literally just EMP rounds. I don't even see the point of kneeling, because if you do, Spencer is gonna shit on you with his D-wall. Nikolai is gonna shit on you with his gun, because you have to get up. There's a brief moment of delay and pause where you have to get up, and Becca's gonna get destroyed if nobody's like watching or helping her. So I don't even use sentry stance a lot of times, especially on camera focused builds. I like pace back and forth and shoot it, because you stun it and the mastermind has to try to keep up with you. Impact is really strong against zombie based builds, and you don't even have to go impact for Becca to have an impact on zombies. All three of these abilities have a very large impact on zombies. Just right now with the 4 buff situation, which I kind of think this is worded wrong. Headshotting enemies remove 4 buffs. Yes, there's only 4 buffs, so you might as well just say all buffs, meaning I feel like they will be adding a buff sooner or later because of the way it's worded. 4 buffs. Bullseye, just extra damage. Just all it really is, extra damage. So she just falls short when it comes to utility, and that's why I put Sam and Becca basically the final 2, because they're very selfish characters. When it comes to everybody else, they give you team utility, but Sam and Becca are just very selfish in my opinion. So that's my tier list for survivors. Valarie 1, Jill 2, just to recap. For 3 we had Tyrone, 4 was Martin, 5 was Jan, Sam was 6, and Becca was number 7. Of course, as always, you can leave your comments in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts on certain characters. How would you rank them? How do you feel about certain characters in certain different aspects? I want to know it all. Let me know before I fall asleep, because I am gonna fall asleep very soon. But that's gonna conclude it for this video. Like I said, there's probably a lot more I wanted to talk about every character. I just wanted to keep this video short, because not everybody has 45 minutes to an hour or hour 30 minutes to watch a video. So if you want to type in your comments, I'll be happy to, you know, debate with you in the comments about certain things, and we can keep a discussion going there. But that's gonna conclude it for this video. I'm not gonna really have a ender for this one. Oh, excuse me. But I'm probably just gonna say like the video and content that I do bring for you guys. If you want to see more, you know what to do. You can leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed to the channel. You can go ahead and feel free to do so. I upload when I can. Of course, it's not every day, but I try my best to upload when I can, do giveaways, everything of that nature. So if you want to be a part of that army and be a part of a growing nation, you get to hit that subscribe button. And as always, I'll see you guys in another video. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of you guys' day. Peace.